You'd be surprised how many families reach out saying the same thing. They want safety, quiet streets, and a sense of community, but they don't want to sacrifice location or feel totally isolated. After working with hundreds of people moving to Jacksonville over the past 15 years, I can tell you the desire for security and peace of mind has never been higher. For a lot of folks, gated communities seem like the answer, but the reality of living behind the gates, it's not always what people expect, and that's what we're diving into today. We're going to talk about what gated communities in Jacksonville are really like. I'll walk you through how the security works, what the day-to-day lifestyle feels like, the kinds of people who tend to love it, and the things you need to watch for that nobody really tells you up front. We'll also get into some of the most popular gated neighborhoods people are choosing right now. And if you stick with me to the end, I'll share a few thoughts that might help you figure out whether this lifestyle actually fits how your family wants to live. If we haven't met before, I'm Josh Rogers. I've been a real estate agent here in Northeast Florida for the past 15 years, and I lead the F3 home team. Together, we've helped hundreds of families relocate to Jacksonville and St. Johns County and find the kind of home that doesn't just look good on Zillow, but actually works for their lifestyle. Most of the time, it starts with a simple text. So if you're thinking about making a move and you want a local expert who knows these neighborhoods inside and out, just shoot me a message. I'd love to help. Now let's start with the biggest reason people consider gated neighborhoods in the first place, and that's peace of mind. For families moving in from out of state or even just coming from more urban parts of Florida, there's something really comforting about having that gate between your home and the rest of the world. In most cases, the gate limits who can come in and out, which cuts down on random traffic, uninvited solicitors, and that general feeling of unpredictability. Some neighborhoods have a live security guard on site 24 hours a day. Others use virtual access systems or license plate readers. The setups really do vary, so it's worth asking exactly how it works in each community. But here's the thing, it's not just the gate itself that makes a neighborhood feel secure, it's also the way the whole place is designed. Slower traffic, fewer entrances, cul-de-sacs instead of through streets. It creates this environment where people tend to look out for each other. Kids ride their bikes more, neighbors chat on the driveway. And while no neighborhood is perfect, there's definitely a sense of order and calm in most gated areas that families really appreciate. Once people get past the safety conversation, the next thing they start to think about is what life inside the gates actually feels like on a daily basis. And honestly, that part can vary just as much. Some gated neighborhoods are packed with amenities. Resort-style pools, tennis courts, playgrounds, dog parks, even cafes and food trucks that roll through on weekends. Others are quiet, private, and more low-key with tree-lined streets, walking trails, and a slower pace. It all comes down to what kind of energy you're looking for. A lot of people assume gated communities are only for retirees or luxury buyers, but that's not really true anymore. We're seeing a lot of young families choose these neighborhoods because of the lifestyle, the sidewalks, the safety, the neighborhood events. It really does feel more connected in a lot of cases. That said, not every gated community is a social one. Some are incredibly private, which is great if you like to keep to yourself and just enjoy your home without a ton of interaction. So figuring out the vibe is a huge part of making the right call. And speaking of making the right call, here's something people don't always consider when they're focused on gates and amenities: the Homeowners Association. Almost every gated neighborhood in Jacksonville has an HOA, and that means rules. We're talking everything from how your lawn looks to what kind of mailbox you can install, whether you can park a boat in the driveway, and how you need to submit plans if you want to paint your house or add a fence. For some people, that structure is actually a huge relief. It keeps the neighborhood looking polished and predictable. But if you like more freedom with your property or don't want to deal with that kind of oversight, it can be a bit of a shock. Fees are another part of the equation. HOA dues vary depending on what's included, but in gated communities, they tend to be higher than in non-gated ones. You're usually paying for the gate maintenance, shared roads, landscaping in common areas, and of course, any amenities the neighborhood offers. Some places also have a capital contribution at closing, which is a one-time fee you pay to join the association. All of that is normal here. It just helps to know ahead of time. That's why if you're feeling overwhelmed, trying to sort through all these neighborhoods and figure out which ones are actually worth looking at, you're not alone. Most families moving here aren't familiar with the layout of the city or which neighborhoods are gated versus which just feel like they are. So if you want help narrowing things down based on your lifestyle, your family's routines, or even how much social interaction you want in a neighborhood, just text me. That's what we do every day. Listen to what your life looks like and then point you toward the places that actually match. Now let's talk about who really thrives in a gated community and who might want to look elsewhere. I find that families with younger kids tend to absolutely love it. The safety, the structure, the community feel, it checks a lot of boxes. Retirees also really enjoy the peace and lower traffic. And people who travel a lot for work say they feel better knowing their home is a little more protected when they're gone. But if you're someone who values spontaneity, or you like to push the boundaries with home design or use your property in more flexible ways, a gated community might feel a little too structured. Same goes if you love walkability to shops, cafes, and nightlife. Most gated communities here aren't really walkable in that way. So it's less about price point and more about whether the lifestyle inside the gates actually fits your rhythm. Now, as far as popular gated neighborhoods in Jacksonville, there are a handful that I find families really gravitate toward. I'm not going to list them all here because what works for one family might not work for another. But there are options that feel like private country clubs with all the bells and whistles, and others that feel more like cozy pockets of calm in the middle of the city. If you want help figuring out which ones you should even consider, just reach out. I'll ask a few questions and send you a few options that make sense for your life. At the end of the day, gated living in Jacksonville isn't about status or flash. It's about lifestyle. It's about what makes you feel relaxed when you pull into your driveway and what kind of community you want your family to be part of. Some people know right away that they want that extra layer of privacy and control. Others realize that what they really want is just a friendly street and good schools. If you're seriously thinking about making a move and you want someone who's not just throwing you a list of zip codes, but actually helping you think through how and where you want to live, send me a text. My team and I are here to help you land in the right neighborhood, not just any neighborhood. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you in the next video.